All right, let's talk about something that's happening inside your computer right now. It's this incredible, kind of secret hero that lets you have 50 browser tabs open, listen to music, and, edit a document, all at the same time without everything just crashing. We're going to pull back the curtain on virtual memory.
I mean, really, have you ever just stopped and thought about it? You click open another app, then another, and your computer just handles it. It almost feels like it has this bottomless pit of workspace. But as we're about to see, that's really just a brilliant illusion.
So this whole idea of virtual memory, it all starts with a very real, very physical problem. See, every computer out there, I don't care how powerful it is, faces this one fundamental limit. It only has so much high-speed workspace to play with.
The easiest way to think about your computer's RAM is to picture a workbench. It's where you keep all the tools and projects you're actively working on at that moment. And yeah, it's super fast to grab what you need. But, just like a real workbench, it can only hold so much stuff before it gets totally cluttered and you just plain run out of room.
And this chart pretty much sums up the problem we all face. That first little bar, that's the physical RAM we actually have, our workbench space. But that second, much taller bar, yeah, that's all the stuff we want to do. It's pretty clear our digital ambitions are way bigger than our physical capacity. So how do we bridge that gap?
Well, this is where the real magic comes in. Instead of trying to build some infinitely large workbench, which is impossible, computer scientists came up with this totally ingenious system to create the illusion of one.
And here it is, virtual memory. What is it? Well, it's basically a technique where your operating system whispers to your programs, hey, don't worry, we've got all the space in the world, even when the physical workbench, that RAM, is completely full. It's a clever lie, really, but it's the lie that makes everything work. The question is, how?
Okay, so to really get how this illusion works, we're going to use a simple but really powerful analogy. Just imagine your computer's memory system is this huge library, and your operating system, well, it's the most efficient librarian you've ever seen. So let's lay out the key players here. The operating system, that's our librarian, the one managing everything. The RAM, your physical memory, that's the librarian's work desk. It's prime real estate, super fast to access. In your hard drive, think of that as the enormous kind of dusty library archives way down in the basement.
So here's what our librarian does, thousands of times a second. First, the desk, your RAM, gets totally full. The librarian, our OS, looks around and spots some books and papers you haven't touched in a while. So it takes those inactive items and moves them down to the archives, the hard drive. And poof, just like that, there's new space on the desk. And if you need one of those old things back, no problem. The librarian just zips down to the archives and fetches it for you. This constant swapping is the secret sauce.
Okay, so a clever librarian swapping books around. Why is this so important? Why should you care? Because this little process is the absolute foundation of modern multitasking. It's your computer's superpower.
Because of virtual memory, you get to run way more apps than your physical RAM could ever dream of holding on its own. It's what lets those huge, complex programs like massive video games or pro video editing software run on your machine. And, maybe most importantly, it's what keeps your whole system from just crashing when it runs out of RAM. Instead of a hard stop, it just starts swapping more stuff with the archives.
But, like any kind of cool magic trick, there's always a trade-off, right? This incredible flexibility doesn't come for free. There's a hidden cost to this multitasking superpower of ours.
Just think back to our librarian for a second. Grabbing a book that's sitting right there on the desk, that's instant. But what happens when the librarian has to take the elevator all the way down to the archives in the basement to find something? Well, it takes time. It's the same thing here. Your RAM is incredibly fast, but your hard drive, it's much slower. Every single time the system has to swap, there's a tiny little performance hit.
And that, right there, is the crucial point. Virtual memory is this masterful compromise. It trades a tiny little bit of speed, that time it takes to swap data back and forth, for this enormous benefit of having seemingly limitless memory. And honestly, that's the trade-off that makes our modern digital lives even possible.
Which kind of brings us to a final thought to chew on. These days we have computers with massive amounts of RAM, way more than a decade ago, and it keeps getting cheaper. So here's the question. Will we ever reach a point where we have so much physical desk space that our virtual librarian can finally just retire? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.